Hello, sports fans. James Williams here for Sports Minded. Just gonna give you my quick thoughts about everything that's been going on in the basketball world about Los Angeles Clippers owner Donald Sterling and everything that's kind of gone down with that. We've heard names such as Magic Johnson, LeBron James, Matt Kemp, Michael Jordan, um, Snoop Dogg. Everyone and anyone has more or less kind of commented on this. Um, so I figured now that it's my turn to comment on it. No, I'm just kidding. Aside from that, though, if you don't know by now, I guess there was a TMZ report, um, or it's a audio clipping posted by TMZ, an extended version of that audio conversation between Donald Sterling and his girlfriend that was posted on TMZ the next day, which is today, Sunday, was given an extended version. I guess there was more or less an extended version released by Deadspin.com, I believe it was. They posted an extended version, which is a total of 15 minutes long, including the original 9 minutes that TMZ had posted. So with that being said, everything that's gone down with that, apparently Sterling's girlfriend had posted some photos of her with people, just out in the town or whatever, just kind of maybe even at a Dodgers game. Or I haven't seen the pictures, but I guess she posted pictures of her with Matt Kemp and with Magic Johnson, and Donald Sterling, I guess, has told her before not to be using, not to be posting pictures with African Americans, and I guess people had been telling Sterling about her and the people she had been posting pictures of on her Instagram, and Donald Sterling wasn't down with that apparently. Um, so that has caused a lot of backlash, and we did see some of that tonight as the Clippers lost 118 to 97, I believe it was, to the Golden State Warriors on the road. Donald Sterling was not there, as Adam Silver, who is the new NBA commissioner, told us yesterday during his press conference in Memphis that Sterling would not be there, and of course he was not. Um, there was also rumors yesterday that the players in the LA Clippers organization they briefly thought about not playing in today's game, but overall they decided not to because they kind of, talked. I guess they had a 45-minute meeting, got everything out, all their emotions out, and at one point came together and realized the fact that they're not playing for Donald Sterling. That's not the reason why they came to the NBA. They decided to come to the LA Clippers more or less, unless they were, I mean, if they were drafted, then that's a different thing. But they are there to play as a team and to play for each other to win a championship, which is the goal, and not to necessarily more or less play for Donald Sterling. But with that being said, they're going to, from what I'm hearing now, is that they're going to be taking Monday off and not practicing. And then I guess I'm assuming, seeing as how they had a game today on Sunday, they have Monday, which would have been a practice day. So I guess literally they're taking it off. But then they have a game on Tuesday against the Golden State Warriors, with the series currently tied at 2-2. I believe it's also at the Staples Center. But how are they going to win a championship if they're not practicing? Not only did they lose by 21 points today in Game 4, and they couldn't stop Steph Curry and the boys today, what makes you think they're going to do it on Monday? Or Tuesday, for that matter, if they don't practice on Monday? I mean, do they have the talent to try and pull something off like that? Yeah, probably, but still, I mean, I guess we're talking about practice, as Allen Iverson once famously said. But going back to Sterling, his comments have been on the talk of the town, and obviously during the game itself, it was talked about several times. LeBron James said before his game and even after his game that he doesn't think that there's a room or there's a place for someone like Donald Sterling in the NBA as an owner, or just a person in general, more or less. And that seems to be the the general kind of thought process right now in regards to Sterling when it comes to comments and whatnot being placed out there about Sterling. Um, there's so much to kind of go into with a lot of this. Um, Matt Kemp expressed his thoughts. Magic Johnson, as I mentioned earlier, he said he's not even going to a Clippers game ever again, as long as Sterling is the owner. Not that Magic really had much of a reason to go before. Being a member of the Los Angeles Lakers for many years as in office and on the court. I mean, I guess other than the fact that they share a building at the Staples Center and that I guess whenever the Lakers would play the Clippers, he was at one of the games. But other than that, I guess if he's not gonna go, he's not gonna go. But Magic Johnson was a big part of that conversation, as I mentioned, between Sterling and his girlfriend, with the whole thing coming out about the picture that she apparently had taken with him, and which has now been taken down from her Instagram. Um, so kind of going forward with a lot of this stuff with today's loss, a lot of other stuff came out. I guess um, the players decided to play in the game, but they made their statement known that they were upset with Sterling by flipping their warm-up jerseys inside out, hiding the logo of the Los Angeles Clippers as they warmed up for today's game. And I guess after the warm-up, went to the middle of the court and placed their jerseys. Each player placed their warm-up jersey in a pile. Um, I guess kind of symbolizing their protest more or less on the middle of the court. So they also wore black wristbands. Um, I guess other than the fact that they were all wearing them, that was part of what they were trying to protest, but not really sure what to make of it or what it may overall symbolize other than I'm guessing the color black of the wristband and of the African American subject that was talked about in the conversation with Sterling. So I guess you can make something out of that, or I guess it can also symbolize the black eye that this has put on the NBA for the time being, and I'm sure will be something that will be talked about for quite some time. But a player who is currently stuck in the middle of all this, who is currently on the Clippers as a player, more or less their team captain and their starting point guard, is Chris Paul, who is also the president of the Players Association. So not only does he have to be a voice for the Los Angeles Clippers on the court, in press conferences whenever he's going to be addressed to talk about this, but he's also going to have to talk about it again, more or less, as a member of as a president of the Player Association. So I'm sure he has a lot on his plate right now. If your team captain is having to go through this, and people calling him all over the place, I'm sure about the matter. I don't think if your best player is going through all this, and I mean, don't get me wrong, he's equally going through the same stuff as any other player in the league and on the team. But how are they going to come out and perform with everything going on? With him being the team captain, the team as a whole, him being the association president, just everything. It just seems like a big mess. Them not wanting to practice on Monday and whatnot. Um, Going back into Sterling, I guess he was set to be honored for the second time by the NAACP, which is the National Association for Advancement of Colored People. I guess the Los Angeles branch of that organization or association was set to honor Donald Sterling, I believe, for the second straight year in a row. Don't know much more as to why or what that was, but either way, they've decided not to, as this investigation on what if he was really the one saying all that in the conversation or not goes forward. I mean, if you just look at it for what it is that he's being accused of this, so for the time being, they're not going to honor him after all, which is kind of odd. I mean, apparently there's been tons of stuff about Donald Sterling and this topic before, of racism among African Americans and maybe just people in general, if I'm not mistaken. But um, I'm not sure what he's being honored for, but I'm not gonna sit here and say he should or should not, or who should honor him or whatever, because maybe he does do some good, but he just has his moments, I guess. And then we go back into a small bit of history. The first time I ever heard about Donald Sterling was when he took out, and of course it was on a negative note, more or less, kind of in the same realm to some extent. Not, I mean, I'm not saying it's just as negative, but it falls under the same subject, more or less. Sterling decides to take out an ad in the LA Times to celebrate Black History Month, as we all know, more or less is in February. The month of February is Black History Month. But Donald Sterling's ad was to celebrate Black History Month and give away free tickets to more or less poor African American children and families to attend the game. He wanted to celebrate Black History Month on March 2nd. This was during the 2011 season. He wanted to celebrate the Black History Month, which is normally in February, on March 2nd. I find that interesting. I mean, you had a whole month. I'm sure they didn't play away games the whole month of February. So where did this come from? Was this a last minute thing? Did someone talk him into doing this? Was he trying to win an award or something? Why do anything at all? I know TNT, ESPN, all the other news, not news outlets, the sports outlets, outlets and the one who broadcast these games do quite a bit as it is in regards to Black History Month and celebrating that and honoring that. So why did he have to do it himself and mess up that bad? I mean, I don't know. I find that weird. But that was my first time really hearing anything at all, or hearing the name Donald Sterling, was in regard to this ad he was putting out. That actually was in the paper, if I'm not mistaken. I do have a copy of it. Maybe I can try and put it in the video or something. But very, very interesting to hear this name come up again and this subject come up again, which is funny because players such as Baron Davis, who has played for Donald Sterling and the Los Angeles Clippers, said he's not surprised by this at all, and he himself has had to deal with and face these this kind of situation with Sterling. I guess apparently he called him a whole bunch of racist names and everything in the book to kind of make Baron Davis feel uncomfortable as someone who was working and getting paid by Donald Sterling. And something else I found interesting today that was more or less kind of stupid, probably not even worth mentioning, but I'm going to mention it anyways. Donald Sterling's wife, decided to come out today and say that she's not a racist. Who called her a racist? I haven't heard anyone accuse her of calling her a racist. Plus, don't you have bigger things to talk about than talking to the media about you not being a racist, Mrs. Sterling? I guess I'm not sure if that's still your name, but and I only say that because I would think you'd have a bigger problem personally with the fact that this whole conversation started about because of the fact that Donald Sterling was having a conversation that was recorded with his girlfriend, not his wife, but his girlfriend. So as much as I don't care to dig into detail about the current relationship between Donald Sterling and his wife or his ex-wife, whatever the case may be, I care just as less as I care about the fact that whatever current status the relationship is, I can care just as much on whether or not she's a racist, which goes back to the saying, if you don't have anything good at all to say, don't say it at all. So Mrs. Sterling, if you're not a racist, that's fine. If you are, don't say anything at all. Don't just say you're not because your husband or ex-husband is making himself out to be a racist at the moment. And with that being said, if Donald Sterling is a racist, then don't say it at all. Don't. I mean, if you have personal views, something like that, and you're in that position as the owner of a franchise and in a spotlight, more or less, don't say that stuff. Just that simple. If you don't have anything good to say, don't say anything at all. Goes back to my point in which I don't know who was recording the conversation between Donald Sterling and his girlfriend to begin with, and what was the reasoning behind it? Was someone out to get Donald Sterling and catch him in this moment, in which maybe he felt at home? I'm guessing this was at home when this happened. I've never really heard clearly when the conversation argument took place. Um, so under the impression that this conversation happened at home, he was in his own home saying whatever he wanted to say, which is fine. We all are entitled to say whatever we want in our own house, behind our own closed door. That's his private life. But who put that clip out there during a moment in which he's saying all these things? Were they out to get him, out for revenge? Did the girlfriend do it? Did someone in the house have access and plant or plot or make this plan to put a recorder somewhere for Donald Sterling to be caught off guard with this? I don't know. Those are some questions that need to be dug into detail. Everyone's kind of giving the benefit of the doubt of we don't know for sure if Donald Sterling said this. And I guess the NBA is going to be doing some sort of voice test analysis. I don't know. They're going to match Donald Sterling's voice to this recording and see if there's a match. More or less like a DNA sample, but with the voice, I guess. So that's something to look out for. They're very, very confusing, interesting weekend. Especially with all the stuff that's really just been going on in the world of basketball and the playoffs in general. To have something like this kind of overshadow everything is pretty bad. Pretty sure I hit all the topics. Talk about Doc Rivers may not even wanting to possibly come back and coach for the Clippers. He said earlier today he doesn't know if there's anything that Donald Sterling can say to him that would make him want to come back. I believe this is still Doc Rivers' first year with the Clippers. I'm guessing, yeah. I'm assuming it is. I'm pretty sure it is because Kevin Garnett and all them just went to Kevin Garnett and Paul Pierce just went to the Nets, and then so Doc Rivers just left as well, I believe, from the Celtics. So yeah, after 1 year, Doc Rivers may be leaving. The Clippers finally have themselves in a position where they're in the playoffs. The Lakers are not. The whole spotlight in LA is on the Clippers for once, and they're blowing it. They were a real contender for the championship this year, but if they're not going to practice on Monday, they're going to make stands. If the emotion of all of this is too much for them, which, I mean, don't get me wrong, is totally understandable because of everything that has taken place and said by their owner. I don't think it is, again, time for the Clippers to win a championship. And I don't know what the Clippers organization will do to get themselves out of this hole, because I'm sure this will be talked about for a number of years. I mean, this is something that will be in the sports history books for quite a while, up there with the whole Pete Rose gambling thing. Anything and everything that kind of comes out afterward. You have your good moments in sports, and then you got your bad ones. This is definitely a bad one, especially if it does come out to be true that Donald Sterling said all this. So, without rambling much further, I would like to hear what you guys think. You can send me your opinion on Twitter at JHWReporter on Twitter, at JHWReporter on Twitter. You can tell us your thoughts on the Facebook page, www.facebook.com/sportsminded. Also, check us out on the website, sportsmindednews.com and let us know what your thoughts are there as well. Um, or even on YouTube. I'll be trying to post this on YouTube. So send me a comment down below or wherever you're seeing this video. Let us know. We would like to hear from you and hear your thoughts as this continues to go forward. If there are any updates with this matter and this topic, we will be sure to let you know, and what Adam Silver decides to do as far as any sort of discipline or actions that may be taken in regards to this situation. So with that being said, my name is James Williams. Thank you for listening.